Boy, usually it's Friday like this. Anyway, the interview went off there, and we were unable to get any more on that particular tape. I was running late, and we appreciate John Lindemood allowing us to talk with him. He come by while I was filming the rape there, and we appreciate that information. He also said that the gin would be able to handle a lot more cotton this year because of the new system that they'll be using. We appreciate that. We had promised you earlier that there was a candidate that's running for the position that Mr. John Tanner now holds, would be our special guest this morning. And if he will come on right now, we'll just go ahead and introduce him. And he is no stranger to these parts. And we want to welcome you to our program this morning, Philip. And you may have to scoot in a little bit closer because our cameraman went out. Can you believe this? I thought we could get you on, but we can't. Turn loose again. Sometime it happens this way. Would it be nice if we had this on film where we could cut that out? Kathy had to step out of the studio, and we was left without any help here. Philip, welcome to our program this morning.
Thank you.
And now we've got the people's attention. And you're running for a state representative?
That's right.
Okay. Will this be your first time to run for public office?
Yes, it is. It's my first time to seek public office.
When a person gets into politics today, they need to have quite a bit experience in the particular office that they're running for, or they need to be well educated in politics. What are some of your qualifications?
Well, I really began my work in politics when I was just a kid, really. Fats Everett, the late Congressman Fats Everett, was more like a second father to me. My family, I'm from Union City, of course. My family was very poor, and Congressman Everett sort of took me in, and like I said, was just like a second father to me, and I sort of got my feet wet working with him. And then, of course, when he passed away, Congressman Jones was elected, and I moved to Washington and worked on his staff there in Washington as a page, and then, of course, came back and been active in other political campaigns in the Democratic Party throughout the area, the governor's race, and different races that I've been involved in locally there in Obion County.
Okay, now didn't you also work with John Tanner?
John and I have been friends. In fact, John's brother, Roger, and I grew up together. And John and I, of course, have been friends for as long as I can remember, just about.
Okay, now this particular office here, and you'll need to turn up both mics, Kathy, I think. This particular, the office that you're running for here is the one that's being held now by John Tanner.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. What about your family members? You married? How many children?
Yes, I'm married. My wife, Linda, and I have two sons, Chip and Chad. Chip is 11 and Chad is 9. They're both students in the public schools there in Union City. Chad's at Central Elementary and Chip's at Eastside Elementary.
Okay. What about schooling?
Well, I, of course, was educated in the Union City school system, graduated from Union City in 1970. I graduated from the University of Tennessee at Martin in 1975. I also hold a diploma from Memphis Theological Seminary, and then I attended law school at the Nashville Knight Law School in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, what do you do about now for a living?
I own a distributorship with Knott's Foods. We service Lake and Obion County, well, and other counties, Lauderdale, Dyer, and Fayette, and down through there. But personally, I call on stores in Lake and Obion County myself. I was teaching school until 1975. I had my degree in education. My wife is a teacher, and I was teaching school until 75, and I had worked my way through college. All the way through college, I had to work 40 hours a week in order to get my education, and I had done this by selling. So in 76, when I was teaching school in Union City, I had the opportunity to buy the franchise with Knott's Foods down here, and I bought it, and I've owned and operated it for the past 12 years.
How many people at this time are qualified to run for this office?
Only Mr. Joel Shore and myself.
Okay, only two right now, two candidates.
That's right.
Do you know of anybody else that might be coming out?
No, sir, we haven't heard of anyone that might be at this time. Of course, there's always a possibility because the deadline is not till June the 4th.
All right.
Qualifying deadline.
What are some of the responsibilities of a state representative?
Well, of course, during the legislative session, the state legislator is in Nashville. He goes up usually on Monday about lunch and stays till Thursday night. He is there, of course, on the floor of the House in committee meetings representing O'Brien Lake and the part of Weakley County that is in the 77th District. And then when the legislature is out, of course, his responsibilities primarily deal with helping people here at home, dealing with problems that someone might have involving state government, goodwill ambassador, of course, for the state, trying to promote activities in the local district. The state representative is very instrumental in working toward gaining industry, in working toward development of roads. For example, promotion of Reelfoot Lake is one of the things that's very high on my list. Operating a business here in Lake County, I feel as much a Lake Countyan as I am an O'Brien Countyan because I'm here 3 days a week calling on stores. And one of the things that got me in this race was because I realized that we have to have somebody in Nashville who's going to fight for Lake, O'Brien, and Weakley County, who's going to be up there. And when industry approaches, and there's so many industries every day that look at Tennessee, and we need our state representative up there being able to say, look, we've got something great over in northwest Tennessee, Lake County, O'Brien County, Weakley County. Let us show you what we've got. These are some of the things that are very important to me. The schools, having been an educator, I feel so strongly about better schools and how that we've got to continue to work and make our schools as best that we possibly can, because our schools are educating our leaders, our governors, our presidents, and our senators of the next generation, and that's what I'm trying to look at is the future.
Being in politics, a lot of times politicians have gotten away from some of the old ways of that a politician should go back to, and that is listening to the people. We are electing people today that are going to Nashville, that are going to Washington, and they make promises, and then once they get there, they vote on an item the way they want to, not the way the people wants it. In a case like that, will you be a representative of the people?
Cecil, in 1927, the late, great Rogers, I can't even think of his first name now, that was so famous, made a statement that I liked. He said, I'm going to Washington to check on our hired help. Well, I believe that's exactly what any elected official is. He's a servant of the people, and he is put there to represent the interests of the people, not his own personal interests, not his own special interest groups or any special interest groups. He's there to represent the people. We live in a democratic society where majority rules, and my feelings are that if I'm elected to the State House of Representatives, whatever the majority of the people of the 77th District want, that's what I'm going to fight for, because they sent me there to represent them, to work for them, and that's exactly what I want to do. So yes, I'm going to be responsive to whatever the needs and the desires of the people of this district are.
Our special guest this morning is Philip Pinion, a candidate for the 77th District State Representative, and a position that is now being held by John Tanner. We'll be returning with more questions after this.
You can hear it. You can hear it.
Hi, I'm Ken Agee of Moody Wadley Buick in Dyersburg, Tennessee. I'd like to introduce y'all to the new 1988 Regal Buick from Buick Motor Division. This car was spent more with General Motors in the approximate last 2 years than any car that's ever been produced at General Motors. Under its powertrain here, you have a 2.8 multi-port fuel injection hood with all the modern conveniences, tilt, cruise, power windows. The car rides and drives with a Cadillac. This car can be seen on display at Moody Wadley now. If we do not have what you want installed, we'll be more than happy to order. It's different in two tones, straight shifts, automatics, just any way you want the car, that's the way we want it for you. This car is really excited us at Moody Wadley, and we're sure you'll show some of the excitement if you come to Moody Wadley and look at the car.
Betty's Variety Store is located in downtown Tiptonville. Betty has just about anything you need in the line of clothing, kitchen utensils, beauty aids, medication. Also, something that she has now in the racks is the scrub shirts, many different colors to choose from. Clothing for the entire family for the spring and summer months ahead. She always keeps it looking nice, you're always treated courteous, and there's always a rack there with some items that are marked down. So shop at Betty's Variety Store for that little girl, for the little boy in your life, or for anyone in the family. Be sure to stop by Betty's Variety Store in downtown Tiptonville. Okay, our special guest this morning, Philip Pinion. I know a Larry Pinion, and I didn't want to call him Larry. Philip runs a route here in Lake County, Knott's Foods, I believe it is.
Right.
And so, does anybody ever call you the Cookie Man, or?
Oh, just about everything.
You sell a lot more than cookies, though, don't you?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay. Philip, we're going to give you an opportunity to make your closing statements for today. We thank you for being our guest.
Thank you.
And we wish you much success in the upcoming election.
Thank you. I do appreciate Cecil allowing me the opportunity to speak to you this morning and to be here. I am seeking the post for state representative of the 77th District of Tennessee. It's one of the most important positions in this area. So many times we think of it only as a part-time job, and a lot of people feel like, well, it can't be that important. It is very important, and I want each of you to really consider this time in the election on August the 4th. One of the reasons that I believe I'm qualified for this, or several of the reasons, is that I know what it is to work. I've worked all my life. I started my first job when I was 7 years old, and I've been working ever since. I still work very hard. I own and operate the Knott's food business here in Lake and Obion County, and I still run myself 3 days a week on the trucks. I call on every grocery store here in Lake County. Most of the people know me. I know what it is to work hard, and I feel that we as the citizens must be involved. And after much encouragement from friends, I felt like that it was my responsibility and a desire that I've had for many years to become involved in such a way. I have always worked as far as being involved in the community. I've coached a baseball program in Union City now for many years. I've worked with the Little Twisters basketball program, worked in the United Way. I've always felt that we have a responsibility to be involved. And I know what it is to work, and I want to go to Nashville and work for you. I know what it is to run a small business. Those of you who are operating small businesses today, I know exactly what you're going through. I know the needs of our area here. I know our need for industry. I know our need to continue to promote Reelfoot Lake and work as hard as we can for that. And that's one of the things that's top of my priority. Having been a school teacher, I understand what teachers are going through today, and I want the teachers to know that I will be very supportive of them and do everything that I can to see that we have better schools. And one of the problems we face right here in Lake County is because of the decreasing enrollment in our schools. Education has become a major problem as far as financing. I believe that there can be some things done that can help the small counties so that the burden is not placed so much on the local taxpayers. We've had so much land removed from our tax rolls here in Lake County by the state, and I feel like something needs to be done about this. And so I'm going to work hard for education. I know what it is to raise children, having 2 young sons now, and I know what parents are going through, and I know the problems that they face, and I'm concerned about my kids. I want my kids to be able to grow up and stay in this area if that's what they desire. I don't want them to have to leave here to find work. And this is one of the reasons why I want to go to the state legislature to help and make sure that my kids can have a better future here. I have a vested interest here. Everything that's important to me is right here in this 77th district. My business, my family, my church, everything that I'm involved in is here. And I do work with 3 rural Cumberland Presbyterian churches that are not able to afford a full-time pastor. I began working in youth work several years ago, and now work with these little churches. And I know what the elderly are facing because I hear them in these churches. Most of your smaller churches, your rural churches, are made up of elderly people, and I know what they're going through. I know what it is when a person has worked all of their lives and everything that they've built, and then they have some illness hit them and just about lose everything that they've got. I feel that these are things that need to be addressed. They need to be represented well in the General Assembly. As I said, I've been involved in the youth programs in our community. I'm an advisory director of First Volunteer Bank in Union City, and I feel like that I can represent the total community if I'm elected to the state legislature. And in conclusion, I just want to say to you that there's so much that I feel needs to be done in this area, and so much that can be done if we have the right man in Nashville fighting for us and working for us. As I said a few moments ago, promotion of Reelfoot Lake is top on my priority. Recruitment of industry for this area, and I want to provide a better future for my children and your grandchildren. And the one promise that I make to you is that I'll work hard to represent the interest, to make sure that the people in Nashville and the other state legislators and state government know that Lake O'Brien and Weakley County has someone there speaking and fighting for them on a daily basis. Again, I thank Cecil and the staff here for allowing me this opportunity, and I would deeply appreciate your consideration on August the 4th. Thank you very much.
Philip, we thank you for coming by and wish you much success in the upcoming election. And you'll be getting around to the people, I'm sure.
Yes.
And the election is what this year? What's the date?
August the 4th.
August the 4th.
Thursday, August the 4th.
Okay. Will you be making your rounds on election day to the different polls?
I
or do you know
certainly
yet?
will. I'm going to try to make every poll, every voting box on election day. I'm planning on seeing as many people as I possibly can. Of course, I've already began making contacts and have a lot of good people working for us, and it looks real good.
Okay. Philip Pinion, a candidate for our state representative, 77th District, and we thank him for coming by. Kathy Walden is coming up next with the local church news, so stay with us.